Thank you, Speaker. Look, Speaker, this is such a timely and important motion that we're debating today to really best address the ongoing struggles faced by our rural schools that are increasingly under attack due to the policies and guidelines set by this government. And when I speak of that struggle, Speaker, I speak from experience. In fact, every last one of our MPPs in this House who represents areas with rural and northern constituencies share that experience. Speaker, last night, in fact, marked the final meeting where delegates' desperate pleas to save St. Agatha Elementary School in my riding of Wilmot Township and Kitchener-Conestoga were heard once again by the Waterloo Catholic Board. Of course, I was there in attendance at the meeting. I witnessed students, parents, community members, staff that were very emotional, frankly, at this meeting. And while there's no lack of passion, of course, at Wilmot Township to protect the ongoing life of their community school, this is actually the third time in 9 years parents have had to marshal the troops to again fight to save their beloved St. Agatha School. In fact, St. Agatha School, the community in Wilmot, celebrated over 145 years within the community, a significant celebration that I also was able to attend. And I saw just how of a bond those students from generation after generation went to that student, grandparents, great-grandparents, parents, and now the kids today. And so, as I noted this morning, even further concerning that this third strike by the board in Wilmot is the fact that it was just over 2 years ago that parents thought they could breathe easier after their last battle to save the school had finally come to an end. And yet, there we were again last night, making those same arguments. To save the same rural school, this government's new review rules allow to be placed right back up on the chopping block. To be clear, school closure review is an arduous and painful process for all impacted, which begs the question as to why the ministry almost encourages boards to drag families and their local communities through this struggle again and again until school closure can actually be achieved. Speaker, while I and many frustrated parents spoke to question how we could be going back into a review process so soon after the last ARC review, it turns out that while parents rejoiced in saving their school back in 2014, the ministry was busy changing the rules of the game, scrapping the once-in-a-5-year period rule to allow accommodation review anytime the school board wants. If at first you don't succeed, just change the rules and, of course, try again. So now not only can boards across the province turn a rural school closure to meet the bottom lines, the ministry is making it easier and faster to do so. Look, we all recognize that the Wynne government's elimination of top-up funding that specifically went to support small and rural schools has put boards across the province in a difficult position. And I looked into the eyes of the trustees last night, and I know we've heard folks in the House who were trustees formerly. I recall hearing from the member for Windsor West, and I know she's had the experience of closing schools in the past, so it's perhaps a bit rich here to be talking about that today. But look, for that reason, as we all call for an immediate moratorium and seek immediate review of guidelines, we are also working towards province-wide solutions to our province-wide problem. We've asked the minister to immediately engage all school boards, school communities, and local municipalities in a review of the current challenges presented by declining enrollment. They're different. I think it's essential that we all work together to save our rural schools so that families, communities, and boards alike aren't forced to consider further unnecessary school closures. To do otherwise ignores the vital importance that our rural schools bring to our rural communities and brings us back to the closure debate again and again. No one wants to go back there, Speaker, and so I'll conclude by repeating our call for an immediate moratorium on rural school closure and review of the accommodation guidelines. Save our schools. St. Agatha, save the rest of the schools in rural Ontario.
Never too late to do the right thing.